Wrapping things up at the daily press briefing at the White House. Of course, we've been bringing that to you live because there's been absolute news coming out of that every day. He covered everything from the looming fight over President Trump's Supreme Court pick to clean coal and the U.S. military operation in Yemen and calling out Iran. Hello, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith. We had a lot of news, first of all, coming out of there. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn did make an appearance at the very top end of that press briefing, along with the Deputy National Security Advisor KT McFarland was also present. He said, "We are putting Iran on notice. Their actions were provocative and in defiance of the UN resolution. This White House condemns their recent actions that put Americans at risk." So a lot coming out of that meeting. We want to bring in Chris Plante. He's a syndicated radio talk show host. Leslie Marshall, also a syndicated radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor. Also making an appearance, by the way, Leslie and Chris, was a few Skype appearances by local reporters. Some were coming in from Cleveland, Ohio, Providence, Rhode Island, just to name a few. What did you make, Chris? What stood out to you in that briefing today?
Well, gosh, I mean, as you said, they covered the waterfront up and down. I think the Supreme Court nominee is sort of front burner right now and dealing with the obstructionism of the Democrats because they feel bitter, word used in one of the questions about holding up of Barack Obama's nominee last year. And the Democrats have decided in a sort of a childlike way that they're going to obstruct, that they're going to prevent him from going into the bench, that they're going to ruin his life. They're going to destroy him in the eyes of his children because they have a petty partisan bone to pick. Oh, Leslie, you know
so
that's
Leslie,
the
let's
case.
bring you in here on that point, talking about Neil Gorsuch and the reference that there was a reference to the president telling Republicans to use the nuclear option to confirm his Supreme Court pick. White House Press Secretary Spicer responded to that. He said that decision is not something we'd like to go down, but it's ultimately up to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Your thoughts, Leslie?
Well, listen, Chris, I haven't heard the Supreme Court nominee's children being threatened. God, I would hope not.
What I
think a concern, Chris, what I'm hearing on my side of the aisle, on the left, is the concern as to whether this individual can be part of the judicial branch, because we have three branches of government, and beholden to the Constitution and not to the man who nominated him. There have been some terrible things that are very scary that have been said and have been done in the past few days with regard to individuals who don't agree with the president. And that's, I think, what the American people deserve, is to have a member of the Supreme Court, regardless of who is nominating them, looking to the Constitution and pledging allegiance to that,
Chris,
and the law to uphold the judicial branch.
This is setting up to be quite the battle. And Sean Spicer had some questions back to Democrats standing there. He said, "Are Dems going to live up to the same standards they imposed on the GOP?" He directed something at Chuck Schumer, a leading Democrat, said he needs to be held accountable for his words.
Yeah. Well, that's right. I mean, it's a classic sort of news media thing here that Chuck Schumer attacks, Donald Trump responds, and Trump is the bad guy. It's like a hockey fight where you only see the second hit. And secondly, Leslie, there's no reason to be concerned about the constitutional grounding of the person that Donald Trump has selected. It's absurd to suggest that there is. And when it comes to the rules of the Senate and whether they get this nominee through or not, the nuclear option, as we call it, should be called the Reid option. And honestly, the Republicans should be referring it from this day forward as the Reid option, because Harry Reid is the one who introduced these tactics to the Senate, and they should be used against them because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And trumping up things about the constitutional grounding of this nominee, honestly, is out of the blue. And what I said was they want to destroy him in the eyes of his children. That's because that's what they do. They smear. And look, the truth is not something that comes to the dance when it's time to smear people in Washington.
All right. Thanks to both of you for standing by.